Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
I am the hammer. I am the sword in his hand. I am the gauntlet about his fist. I am the bane of his foes and the woes of the treacherous. I am the end.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk from Jacket Close Painting. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Hey, what's up?
So, crazy week. Things are opening back up. Wyatt played in a 40K tournament. GW's got another preview. They're speeding the bus back up.
I wonder what it's going to be. They should have like a promotional image or something today. Did you see that?
I don't know.
Maybe it was on Twitter only. They've been doing that sometimes. But somebody sent me it, and it was a quote that says, like, "We must not falter. We are his sword. We are his wrath." So I'm wondering what that's going to be about.
So when you watch the Necron video, there's actually sisters in there. There's knights in there. There's Ultramarines in there, which kind of leads me to believe there might be a box set coming out. Because we know there's two characters, well, the Inquisitor and Severus.
Is Severus right? the Harlequin?
No, the Illuminator.
Who's the sister with like her Harlequin buddy?
Yeah, Ephriel Stern. That'll probably just be like a 2-person box set type deal. Like we saw with the sister and the Custody.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I just hope it's cool. Like I hope it's fun information that gets us hyped up. I'm tired of previews that are like droll and lame.
Well, it said it's all going to be 40K. It's a 40K big preview, so I think they're kind of tracking that. The last one's a big kind of, and so I think they're bringing out the big guns. But so I would hold on to your wallet because May 30th is probably going to be the first new pre-orders.
Oh,
so. Looking forward to it.
We're gonna see some something.
Yeah, I actually have a hot take. I actually don't think we're gonna see a new edition. I think we're gonna see a revised edition.
Well, a lot of the I agree with you. Because nothing has really pointed to the fact. Remember, this time 3 years ago, we are already seeing actual previews from GW for 8th edition 40K. Now, granted, we're a little off schedule because they had originally previewed that at Warhammer Fest in 2017. So we would still just kind of be a little wonky right now. But the fact that they went and reprinted all those Forge Roll books, the Imperial Armors. So the chances are that they're going to do that and then sell those and then turn around and put out an actual new air quotes edition is probably very slim.
Yeah. I know they're not the best at like, they say they're going to do something and then like actually doing that thing. Like there have been multiple occasions where they've said like, we are or are not going to do this thing. And then they do it. Like when they're building up all the hype around 8th edition, originally they were like, yeah, we're going to move away from everybody having a ton of books. Bold-faced lie. But one thing they did say is that like now that we're into 8th edition, they don't even really call it 8th edition.
They do not.
No, they've always called it the new edition of 40K.
Yeah, so we are in the new edition of 40K. It is Warhammer 40,000. So based on them saying that and what they have done with Age of Sigmar, I think what we're way more likely to see is a like revised edition or an updated edition, kind of like where they did Age of Sigmar like 2.0 or whatever it was they officially called it. I think there was a really long name for it, almost like a video game expansion. But I think we're going to see that. So I definitely don't think we're going to see like a whole brand new edition of 40K. I think that's not happening.
100% agreement. I think everyone in this podcast agrees.
Yeah. And also I have a personal bias on that just because like I'm tired of people whining about 8th edition and wanting it to change. And I want to see them proven wrong. So if you don't like the core mechanics of 8th edition, I don't know what to tell you. They're here to stay.
It's the best edition we've had. Like, it's hard to even But yeah, I agree. I also feel a little bit like that. I want them to be proven wrong.
I mean, empirically speaking, everything that's happened in Age of Sigmar has been a test bed for Warhammer 40K. And the last big event in Age of Sigmar was Soul Wars, where a bunch of new Psychers came out of nowhere, or not Psychers, Wizards.
You're right. Psychic Awakening.
And
you're right.
It was basically Psychic Awakening AOS.
Endless spells, Rob. Get it right.
I don't know about endless spells in 40K. I mean, we've done some like wish listing posts on it. I think it'd be funsies, but I think
it'd be wacky to bring back stuff like Nova grenade or what are warp grenades?
Vortex.
Yeah, Vortex grenades. Those were fun.
Those were something.
I remember when you could give that to Sly Marba, and you'd show up behind somebody's army and be like, Vortex grenade.
Dude, Kara Quinn has a good point, and this is something I totally agree with. He says, 8th was a rewrite. Doubt they do it again. I consider, personally, 8th edition to be the first new edition of Warhammer 40K in 7 editions. It is truly the first rewrite we have had since we became 3rd edition.
No, well, yeah. I mean, first, Rogue Trader, second edition were inherently different from each other. Yeah. 3rd edition was inherently different, and it's pretty much been 3rd edition up until now. Between 3rd edition and this moment, pretty much. It's like this. They're 100%. Not going to they finally made a new game for the first time since I've been playing Warhammer 40K in a capacity that matters to me. You know, like they're not going to rewrite it. There's no evidence to support we're actually going to have a rewrite. People might call it 9th edition. That doesn't make it 9th edition. You know what I'm saying? The only thing we can really do at this point is a lot of treadmilling. Like, you know, I talked about this 3 years ago when 8th came out. Like, hey, we're going to see a lot of campaigns. We're going to see a lot of advancements, and they're going to 2.0 the books. And, you know, Space Marine rules are everywhere. Let's put them all into a new edition of the book. And now we got the Space Marine 2.0 book. And some of that's already happened, some that hasn't. But they're definitely focusing more on the storyline. And when they're bringing back characters and plot lines from literally 20 years ago, like the whole Ephrael Stern and Tamanifuge thing, like that is huge because they left so many strands out there and never tied things up. And there's so much to draw from the past 20 years for Games Workshop. It's a really exciting time, especially if you had followed along with it, if you've been in the hobby and been in the space for that long. But even if you haven't, you can just jump on a wiki and just get caught up to date in like 2 pages, you know, like it's cool. It's engrossing.
I mean, I've been telling everybody I know about Wahapedia because it's literally all the rules for free.
Shout out to Chad again, McBray. Yeah. The rules are 10 pages. For the core rules, what's bad is the terrain. We have been on that. 100% agreed. We as a podcast have been unified in our stance on that caveat to 8th edition. But luckily, people like Frontline Games, ITC, tournament structure has done a lot over the last couple of years to make it more playable. And they even go back and look at rules that they made more playable that now get abused, like the Fits at Sit rules was, you know, the way runes
brings up a good segue. I actually had a really interesting idea relating to Frontline yesterday. I was talking to my friend. I think a really cool thing to do that the Games Workshop should do is like Wizards of the Coast does, is they should make a Frontline ITC match play Warhammer 40K source book. So if you want to play match play using the ITC or Frontline, you just have like a source book for all their stuff. And that way you don't have to balance 40K based on what's going on in the comp scene. And I know some people would like that and some people would not like that. But one of the problems that a lot of people have, especially people who don't play competitively, is that things move too fast. I think you yourself have talked about this, Rob, where every 2 weeks something is changing because of the match play scene. So if they released a source book for, you know, with like in accordance with Frontline Gaming, like they do with D&D books, all they would ever have to do is balance around that source book and leave alone core 40K. And I think that could be a good compromise for everybody.
It's a great idea. And here's why they will never do it. They will never give anyone credit outside of themselves for anything.
Oh, I know.
They are too controlling. They want to have their hands on everything and be in charge of everything. Always. The end, period. That is just the way English business works. That's the way they work. 2, they use the constant rules output to sell miniatures, and it's ingrained into everything they do, and they have to have it.
I worked for the company. I know. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it would be cool. This is a very wish listy thing. I wish they would do that, but I know they'll never do that.
Lottery.
Yeah,
yeah.
Which is more likely.
And here's the thing: Games Workshop doesn't have to change, guys. They don't have to do shit.
There's no incentive. There's literally no incentive.
They're making more money now than they ever have before. They don't have to do anything differently. They're literally getting hamstrung by the coronavirus, and they're going to make more money this year than they did in the the one previous and the one before that. They're only going to be off by like 10 million pounds. So they win. Like, it doesn't matter. Yep. It literally doesn't matter.
When there's no incentive to change, oftentimes change won't occur.
Thank you for taking in my great idea and then crushing my dreams.
I'm sorry. I'm like, I see.
Hey, don't throttle Rob.
Seems like you felt really, really strongly about my idea. I'll never bring it up again. I'm so sorry.
No, I think it's a great idea.
When we get a hot take from Rob, don't fucking negatively reinforce his behavior.
I know. I'm just giving him a hard
rare
time.
it is when we get him like this. This is fucking perfect.
I mean, I think he almost said a swear word.
He got close.
I did say a swear word.
I'm so unused to hearing you say potty mouth that I may have missed it.
My video editor, she I think when I was doing the Bandai Marine review, she's like, "You cursed." I was like, "Oh, did I? My bad."
I was like, just getting.
You have to put $1 in the swear jar.
Nah, it's not like that.
His swear jar is like $7 in it from a year.
For the past, no.
Do you have a joke for us, Wyatt, before we do the news?
I do. This is a thinker. A pretty good one.
Oh, okay.
Would you rather have limited probability manipulation or complete foresight of future events?
Probability manipulation.
What do you mean manipulation? Like, you could just do like super math in your head?
You can, in limited ways, increase the probability that something will happen.
Or decrease it? Or is my limitation only in increase?
Yes.
So I can only increase. Okay, hold on. So that was the question I need to ask first. So I can only make something more probable. I can't make something less probable?
Yes.
Okay. Or I can see 100% accuracy what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But through that, do I have the greater understanding of like what caused that to happen, or am I just no? Okay, God damn it,
no.
So because
I thought about saying that, like, you could see everything, but you can change nothing because
but that's a given.
That's assuming that all time is like set and linear. But
that is still a given, because just because I can see an event happening, that doesn't mean I can unravel the intricacies of what caused the event, nor do anything on a significant level to impact and change that. Like, everyone's thinking of like, oh, what about like a massive terrorist attack? Like, how the fuck are you going to stop that from happening as a regular ass hobo in your garage? Yeah. And you don't even know what threads caused it. So I would still take the probability control, because that power is going to be making me stressed and kill myself one day. Whereas if I can increase,
at least that way too, you can like, the only reason you really need to see in the future is like, I guess something to do with yourself, or if you like want to put money, like profit, like, but other than that, you're just going to get ate up, right? With like knowing all the shit's going to happen and there's nothing you can do about it.
I think it would kill me. I think the pressure of it would kill me. Versus if I feel like I can game probability increasement a little bit, it's in small degrees, and just move on with my life. You know what I mean? Like,
I would have to go the other way, simply because I am not strong enough to resist the temptation of using probability manipulation in our game.
I didn't even think of that. You're right.
I need to make these 2 saves on my Lord Discordant. I'm going to increase the probability by 15% that it's a 5 or a 6. I'm not strong enough to figure that out. Urge. How would they figure that out?
Like, if you never fail a save or something, like,
it's limited probability control.
Limited. Yeah.
And But still,
limited, like what, 80%? Like,
what he is saying is he doesn't like cheating, and he knows he would cheat, and so he can't pick it. And I didn't even think of the game.
If you make it too hard to resist, I don't think. I mean, it would be too hard to resist. I don't think I could do it. I'm just thinking about things like I'm going to make it 50% more likely that I remember to do exercise today. I'm just thinking it like that. I wasn't even thinking on that level. I was just like, I'm not even going to worry about anything. It's just like, I'm going to use it to just make my life better. And then whatever I can see around me a little better if possible. Like I was like, cause the way the world would crush me with the other power.
Yeah, I think so too.
It would literally crush me.
There's a high probability I'm going to poop myself.
Oh my God. Imagine if we all had that power on this phone call right now. I'm like 1,000% more likely to shit yourself right now, Rob. Rod's like, too late. I already said it to you. Damn it. We just shit ourselves at the same time. So we actually have, in a really interesting roundabout way, acquired the most powerful superpower on Earth.
Making people poop their pants.
Oh my God. I'm with it. I'm so happy with my decision. Thank you, Wyatt. I assume you watched the new Rick and Morty episode and I got you thinking this way?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what.
Also, I was sometimes if I just can't think of anything, I just browse the subreddit for Would You Rathers, try to find interesting ones. And I saw that one and it immediately popped out because I was like, ooh, that's actually a really good discussion one, rather than like, would you like to poop spiders?
See, LT, this is where you're wrong. He commented, he's like, but 1,000% more likely of a very unlikely event is still unlikely. That's why I said, Rob, shit your pants, 1,000% more chance. Like, shitting your pants for him? That's a 50-50 thing, man.
Yeah. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, guys.
Facts. Yeah. Oh, fucking Nightbot. Got LT in there manipulating my commands.
Nobody can do math. It's pretty much impossible.
Yeah. He does that. He writes commands that troll me and immortalizes things I've said that contradict current things I say.
I mean, what's life if your words can't be used against you?
Oh my God. All right. Thank you. That was a good chuckle.
That was a good one.
Can you do some news?
Yeah, but this is going to involve you too. All right. So first off, Adepticon put on a note that they're still working on their swag bags. They just got in, I guess, their last batch of stuff because, things have been delayed, shipments, yada, yada stuff. But I guess Illinois at the time last week or maybe earlier this week. Either way, they're still working on it. So if you're expecting a swag bag from them, it's probably going to be June-ish. But they are working on it. They're on it. It's okay. They're on it.
Good to hear. I want mine.
Yeah. Yeah. And they had a picture of all that stuff laid out on a bunch of 4x6 folding tables in the hot sun.
I'm not going to look at it because I want the surprise.
I don't think you could tell what any of it was. It's definitely not perishable because it all probably would have been melted by now. The Bandai Marines have started showing up to most people's doorsteps, unless, unfortunately, like Wyatt, you got to go to a GW store to get yours, which isn't really a thing quite yet.
Sadness.
Yep. But I did notice that on the secondary market, they're going for $200 to $300 now. Yay!
Yeah.
No.
Shit, looks like I just made $300.
Yeah, I would sell it now because, well, long story short, I don't feel like they're even worth the $100 that we all paid for them.
Oh, do you have a video that goes into detail about this?
There might be a video on YouTube that goes into detail and compares them to all the great action figures.
Is this video perhaps have like OG 80s action figures being played with by a grown-ass 40-year-old man and comparing
80s? 80s?
All right, now I'm scared to dream bigger. Can you actually compare an action figure from the 80s to something made now? Like, how is that a fair comparison?
I compared figures from the 70s.
See, okay, I'm going to call BS. It's preposterous. You cannot compare a, Christmas special Star Wars action figure.
The greatest miniature of all time.
You can't compare that to this brand new, highly engineered thing from Bandai.
Highly engineered?
Dude, it had vintage, fades on his lightsaber, like from the light.
Oh, you didn't have the push pop one?
Yeah, you could see where it was still, it was inside of it and the tip had faded from the light.
Vintage. Well, You said he can't, but he did make that comparison.
I did them all. I think I did a figure from each decade.
How do you even have these? Oh wait, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, you mean he was there.
Yep. That's right, Bulldog in chat. Robert, 40 or 400 in lizard years?
What are lizard years? We got to look that up. That's important. It's very important to know. I was a little sad because my Spawn action figure, the second dope one McFarlane put out.
Oh my God, that changed the world, bro.
Now, not the first one, the second one where he had like the cape and it was like, and he had real chains. He was like, had real chains dangling on him. When I took it out of the box, the packing peanuts, I guess, had like heated up and dissolved on his cape.
Oh no.
So it looked, you'll have to see the video because I was like, well, I didn't know this happened. So
I would have not been in a place mentally to continue with that video. The I don't know, the pit of despair that I would have had in my stomach I would have had to just take the day off if I had seen that on my Spawn model.
I was super sad. I cleaned it today though. I used some water and soap and got most of it. Now that
you're a hobby expert and not like a child, you were able to repair it.
Yeah, so it worked out. It's all good. We're all back in a good state of affairs. So but yeah, I mean, check out, I mean, if you got yours, check it out. If you see it on the secondary market, I don't know, maybe it's for you, maybe it's not, but I think it's a neat toy and that's about it. But check it out. I did a lot of like poses. It's very posable. I mean, I got it right here. If you're watching live, he's in his fisticuffs mode right here. But
it's so stupid how jealous I am right now.
I mean,
just like the self-awareness of like how insanely upset I am that you have one and I don't. But also it's fucking stupid because it's a little toy. Like those two wolves are battling it out in my heart right now.
Don't let the bad one win. Privateer Press announced that their Warcaster miniatures, that really cool Kickstarter they did. I think they got like $400,000 for it. They're actually going to solicit that to game stores in August. I think they're coming out with 20 codes, 20 SKUs, 20 models, and 3 of them are starter sets. So if you didn't get in on the Kickstarter, look for that to come out August-ish at your local game store. Hopefully they're all open by then. But they're coming in hot on that. Flight Command video game, Aeronautical Imperialis, should be out. No, not quite yet. There's a beta on Discord for Steam. You can get on if you want to check it out. It looks like a really cool game just from looking at the screenshots and stuff. They had announced it a while ago and it kind of like flew under the radar, punny. But now it's going to come out, I think, at the end of the month. So it looks pretty cool. I wish Haspil was here to talk more about it. But if air combat's your video game thing, you might want to check it out. And last but certainly not least, because we still have one more thing to talk about with Kenny, Creature Caster put out the pictures or the computer images, the final product, not the actual resin cast for their next 2 miniatures. They have the Queen of Onslaught and the King of Malefica coming out, I think, end of July, early August. So if you've been waiting for those two to complete the set of the King and Queen of Chaos, I think that is all of them at this point. They will be out then. They look pretty fresh. They'll probably be around $100-ish, if I had to guess.
Hype.
And Kenny's got something to talk to us about that involves monkeys, but not poo.
Oh, you're gonna make me talk about it.
Yeah, you're the face. You brought this up.
I did. So you guys are familiar with a company we have been talking about, working with, showcasing some of their stuff. Pop Goes the Monkey, perhaps one of the first people to enter the space, the print on demand 3D printed bit space. Matt, super nice guy, shirt off the back kind of guy. Wyatt uses a lot of his stuff, like preaches it. Like, I mean, this is before we even like had a relationship here on the podcast. Like, it's just good stuff, man. Mm-hmm. I've had promos with him on my Twitch show before. He made the Kenny Boucher official Chain Lord conversion kit. Like he makes some dope shit, right? He made me a bunch of custom salamander things. awesome. And he's been working with Shopify for years. Well, now they're going to be launching.
You mean Shapeways?
Let's say she's working off through Shopify via the Shapeway plugin.
Right.
And that was a really cool deal for a while, and it still is. But now he's moved to resin. Monkey Resin is the new name, the new hot. I got to see the logo. I ripped it out of that email. It was a shitty JPEG, made it look good. I already got it on my shit. It's going to be hype, and it's better. It's resin. There's going to be savings extended to the customer, better profit margins for the business itself, which means more reinvestment in production. There's already some pretty spicy 3D printers involved, and more to come from what I understand without going into too much detail. And we're going to be having kind of like the first look of sample packs that are made for samples to give you a really good look at what you can do. Instead of just like, here's some shoulder pads, use them. Like, we're talking like shoulders, weapon, backpack of a theme. Here it is. Make a guy. You like it? You know where to buy it, right? Really good packaging, good instructions. I'm going to be getting my hands on some of his new demon princes. I'm going to be painting them. I'm going to be handing out like 100 of these samples at least. Like, it's going to get so spicy. I'm going to be in this capacity of kind of like front lines, like hype guy on this. He came to me, asked what he can do to help my business out. Like, that's, like I said, shirt off the bat kind of dude. And I was like, oh man, you're so nice. I just, it's hard these days to get some hype ass minis to give away on my show. In these times, like, if you guys an avenue to that, he's like, well, I'm working on this new thing. And then here we are today. It's coming. And I know Rob knows some things about it too. So I'm done with my part. And I don't know what Rob was going to say.
Well, what I like about it is that if you look through, and there's thousands of products over on Pop Goes the Monkey's website, is there's a lot of, difference between bits prices and like things that are larger, like terrain or whole kits, like for instance, those demon princes, just because the way Shapeways kind of prices things, and it makes bigger things kind of a little bit out of grasp.
So inefficient.
Yeah.
Like cost wise.
Yeah. So I think with this new option, it'll be a lot easier to get a lot of more of these options, not only price wise, but a little bit more convenient material wise to work with too. So that's kind of what I'm excited about.
As
personally.
Wyatt has said many times, like, this resin, this is where it's at. Like, for the small detail for the minis and for workability, honestly. Like, I love hard, rigid, like more, I don't know. I can't even help it. I didn't even do that on purpose. It's just like how I talk. It's like,
Y'all do phrasing here?
God, podcast phrasing. But I just like it. I think I can get sharper lines. I can clean edges easier. I can even augment it myself easier. I just prefer it, and it looks better.
I think things are definitely moving towards the resin side of things as far as like material goes. But the next 10 years is going to be really interesting on the technology equipment side of things. But
for sure.
So that's dope. So look for that. More on that here soon. And lots of Kickstarters coming up in June, late May. And then we got the big GW preview this weekend, of course. That's 40K only, I believe. Big 40K preview. So get ready. It is about to go down.
Fuck yeah.
So it's cool. I'm hyped. I can't not get hyped, but I've been burned many times.
It's like when you first left, the hurt was so bad. I don't know if I can ever accept, but when this is all over, GW, when this COVID-19 is all over, like, we should move in together, get an apartment together, like maybe work it out,
Yeah.
Like, fuck. Oh man, I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship. But so that's the news. We got it. We did it.
Well, Haspil's not here, so
Haspil's corner suspended. Haspil working his ass off
on hiatus,
which means we get to go into our meat and potatoes segment that we already recorded, and it is a little crazy because we're always super professional in those moments.
I got to put my clothes back on.
I mean, as long as your
nobody
dick's
can
not
tell
showing.
if you're wearing pants. Yeah.
Like my main thing is like, if I'm gonna wear those types of pants that your dick does occasionally flop out of, make sure you wear underwear too. Like that's the only thing. Like if you know the boxes I'm talking about. Like you have those boxes. Just don't wear those boxes when you're streaming. Just wear like standard boxer briefs or even nut huggers. You know.
I think I messed up. I bought like a pack of like. I thought I was getting the right underwear that I normally get, but I got like these like super tiny like boxer briefs. Like I don't know. I thought I was buying the right thing.
Package because that's perfect for me. I need like fat guy boxer briefs with like out that loose cloth. I don't even know why they put the like extra looseness.
See, I went to compression shorts years and years ago because they're the perfect underwear. Like they're breathable, so you know your weasel stays nice and cool, and there's no chafing or binding. You never have to like adjust it and shit when you're wearing pants.
Yeah,
it's the way to go.
That sounds good.
It's the most efficient way to wear underwear.
I just want something that's going to make me look, like bigger for the ladies.
Penis wise?
And there might be some
just like bigger.
Spiky bits.
I would say you literally sling the remedy on your website.
Oh, so sidebar. So I have this like electrolyte powder you can add to water for my keto diet, like post workout stuff. It's actually called Extend with like a big X, like XTND.
Best name ever.
Yeah, I think they did some market research on that. I think they got it.
Shout out to the chat.
It's like sour apple flavor. It's delicious.
Oh, that's exactly what my Extended tastes like. What's up, guys? See a lot of gangsters in chat. What's up, players? Mike's not here. I think they got him working again.
Oh yeah,
they've been. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to.
They ride him too hard.
I'm not going to dox anyone's like personal life, but like they ride him hard. Like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna share his opinion of the situation with you guys. I'll let him do that. But they ride.
He's a stronger man than I would have quit.
Yeah, I don't.
Just the shit that he's been telling us for like a year. Just that I would have been like, I would have quit like a year ago.
Yeah, dude. I feel like they do him dirty.
Yeah, I'm not. As a friend of his who like cares about his mental health, his physical health, I'm not pleased with that situation.
No, I don't think it's good a healthy.
No, but it's a lot of crazy shit, in the world today. But something really amazing happened, which we are going to be able to talk about today, and we're going to continue our COVID-19 style of combining the webcast pregame show and our podcast. I believe that's been a pretty cool formula for this.
Yeah, seems pretty good.
But we do have, like today, for example, we just opened with dicks, so. This
is normal.
Checkbox.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would say underwear. I mean, that's like a life lesson.
Good point.
Some helpful information for the discerning gentleman out there.
Okay, so uncheck. Yeah. We haven't talked about dicks yet. That's to come.
Wow.
Got to talk about poop. You guys know what we do. But we have literal, actual tournament coverage.
Oh, yeah. There was Alamo.
We actually have tournament results, list breakdowns, and eyewitness battle report discussion that we get to fucking have today. Normalcy and routine. Holy fuck. I am actually back on the hype train. I have been not feeling like scheming. I have not been feeling like giving a shit about all this new stuff. I've been very sad about it. Like, I've been painting, but like, I feel like so many of us were like, I'm going to paint so much shit, but like without that like drive to like paint it and then go somewhere and then have somebody be like, yo, great job painting it. It's really hard to get back in that fucking mindset. Like the final destination is so important to the drive.
I feel you. I'm very, reward oriented as a person. So like not having that positive reinforcement of like being able to paint my shit to show it off at an event and people be like, don't bar me, dude. I'm like, yeah, you too. Like without that, my hobby progress for my personal stuff has gone out the window.
Kara Quinn, that's good. We're gonna have to come back to that because I know ITC got put it out.
I can paraphrase.
Thank you.
You want to do that now or later?
Well, no, I didn't. I was going to
okay. So, so Frontline decided that they were going to just stop handing out keys altogether, and they're going to stop handing out keys for private events. So it's weird. There's a lot of mixed feelings on it, like depending on how you view it. Like, I really like Reese and Frankie, but sometimes they do things I disagree with, and I voice my opinion. Like, I disagree with this decision. And when you really look into it, which is hard to do because the TO group on Facebook is hidden and you're not allowed to post anything without permission. So really all it comes down to is a lot of places are opening up, which is incentivizing people to go back to playing Warhammer, but other places are not opening up, specifically the West Coast. And the West Coast has the biggest pull with Frontline in the ITC than any other region. And it makes sense that if a huge majority of your TOs is saying that they don't want keys to be handed out because it's an unfair playing field for who gets to play and who doesn't get to play.
I see.
It makes sense. And
okay. I see what you're saying.
I can't say that personally with 100% conviction because I'm not in the TO group, but I've talked to many other people who are in the TO group. And according to them, it was very apparent based on the discussions that the West Coast aspect of the ITC was sort of strong arming for not giving out keys and not letting events be sanctioned because they're not allowed to. Whereas here in Texas, we were way ahead of them in reopening. We had different regulations as part of our phase 3. I think we're in phase 4 now. And then the state of emergency is going to be completely over with on the 28th of this month. And it was weird. We had 4 separate reasons why it was allowed for our tournament to take place. It was cleared with higher up officials with the municipal district of San Antonio. So we were 100p above board and legit. There was no problems, but with people having all their mixed feelings about everything, it was mixed bag.
I mean, the way you lay it down is if that was the decision making process, I can't even fault. Just if you got to make a decision as the leader of a group that you have decided that majority rules in, and I don't know if that's even how it played out. Okay, I get why that happened.
Maddie has a good question. What's the key? So, to my understanding, ITC Frontline, they have to hand out these access keys for TOs to input their scores into the ITC scoring system so that we can all generate our ITC battle point scores. And if they do not get that access key, they cannot do that. So that's what they were saying is they're not going to hand out keys to TOs at the GT level and at private events. So it's what they were saying is that now if you're playing league tournaments on Tabletop Sim, you're not getting ITC
points. This probably was a direct result of that. You know what I'm saying? I bet they're lagging behind.
And I mean, people have been scoring points this entire time because it just all depends on what so it's what's one of the places with really low regulations, Idaho or something? I don't know. But guys have been able to have RTTs and GTs. It's just, hasn't mostly RTTs. Mm-hmm. And if you have 15 guys, that's a tournament. Yep. And people have been we're just going to have a tournament over a week where we all hang out at each other's garages and we're all going to get ITC points.
Yeah.
So it's a very unfair.
There's pockets advantage. Of people like Nick Navati and Richard Sigler and his crew. They literally live in the same house.
Yeah.
They moved into the same house before all this to start doing their production. They can reasonably run RTs in their house if they wanted to. There's tons of people out there who are in different situations. And I understand. So I bet you that was a result of probably just a little knee jerky, and now things are a little bit different. There's probably a little bit, I would see them changing because Nevada is going to open up here soon, and they're in Nevada now. So I bet you some changes come soon.
Hopefully.
So that's why that was the answer to the question.
Yeah, I thought it was super weird for it to happen now because personally I was they should have just put a hold on gaining ITC points in March. Yeah. When it was getting really bad and the lockdowns started happening for some of the bigger states, but they just let it ride. And then now after most of the places are, opening up and calling it into the state of emergency, now they're going to ban it. So it feels really weird, the timing of it. And it's so when are they going to start handing out keys again? That seems really arbitrary.
it's a bit of a shit show. Don't know what the motivations are, but
it'll get even weirder if they extend it too far forward and then start dropping keys out like towards the end of the year, and then you're going to have like a couple month window to like.
Precisely. I don't mean like it's a shit show. Like I can't say with any honesty like was that the correct decision on their part? I don't know what their reasoning was, but I'm just saying it's going to be how about a clusterfuck and a shit show on the internet in direct response to it. Yeah, and you've always said that like a little bit more transparency.
I don't feel there's a valid reason for keeping all of these TO discussions like Hundy P secret.
Yeah, and Kara Quinn said it perfectly. He's like, this whole season is pretty much fucked, just like all sports. Like, I feel like
there's going to be a big asterisk because I mean, like most players are only going to get like two scores before LVO. Like, I would say most people probably are not going to get 5 scores before LVO, or even if they go to LVO, like before the season ends. So there's going to be an asterisk next to the 2020.
I've been saying this a lot.
Something out.
I've been saying this a lot during all this. It's like, I don't want to be the people who have to make those decisions. Like, I am much more comfortable being in a position where I can criticize them. Like, cause that's where it's going to be a clusterfuck. Cause like, they're going to get criticized no matter what they do. And I don't agree. I'm with you. I don't agree. I don't think that was the right move. I'm glad I'm not in that situation. And we get to talk about 40K. So like, this is a direct conversation. Like, we used to have these conversations all the time. Wyatt, this is awesome.
Yeah. Feels good. Yeah.
This is fucking awesome. And so we are definitely going to talk about, Trip Lord of Skulls, meta matchups. It's going to be,
it was so fun.
It's going to be so fucking fun. But I want to talk just for a moment on something exciting. So I've done 2 podcast interviews in the last couple of weeks. I think, you have done a podcast interview with these people. There's another group.
Oh, is it Hobby Time in the Murder Basement?
Yes, and so I've gotten to do a lot of extra ranting and talking about hobby and painting, and started noticing that I'm getting more amped. And your experience recently got me amped. So I'm back to it. I'm scheming. I'm revisiting the Eldari.
What?
Yeah. Remember how
we talked about this in tactics. I'm hyped.
Remember how back in the day I was like, I'm going to commission Sean Naden to make a.
Yeah. What happened with that?
Well, a lot of things happened. Like an FAQ came down. We couldn't use Jinx and certain psychic powers with the Harlequins anymore. And then I started losing motivation. And then this happened. And then I was like, I don't even care anymore. And then the new Harlequin stuff dropped. And then Wyatt got me amped. And I'd already, I was like, didn't I send 12 Jetweaver or Starweaver jet bikes to Sean?
And some money.
And a deposit. And I was like, because the deposit is less important than how hard it is to track down 12 of those jet bikes at the time. So I hit him up. I was like, yeah, you got my stuff? He's like, I do, man. We had a little conversation. He's straight can't go back to work because of his industry. And, he just had a kid, right? So like, he literally like, it's it. And I was just like, man, I'd really like to get those jet bikes done. I'm actually feeling it right now. And then he got me thinking, cause I just got my $1,200 check in the mail.
Oh, nice.
3 days ago. Whole different
better
topic.
late than never.
A whole different topic. But like, I've been stressing, been anxious, and now I feel like my online presence is on Twitch and Patreon is stabilized. Like we have so much support from the community, as was what we do for a living, and I feel like we're pretty stable now. Like especially with Bonet being completely out of work, and I got that check, and I was like feeling the weight of the world on my shoulders. Like, oh, what can I do with this? And then I was like, oh shit, I can like drop it right back into the economy that I'm a part of. So I was like, hey, finish those fucking jet bikes for me. What about those grotesques you started working on? He's like, got him right here. Boom. Called my other guy up that I've been coaching in private lessons who's starting his commissions painting studio. I was like, yo, he gets his shit from England. I was like, yo, give me them rates, give me them racks, get this. Just literally took this check and was like, blah. So that's what I did with my $1,200 check.
You can make the check bigger if you tear it into smaller pieces.
God damn it. I wish I had known that tech. So all of this to say that I'm back on it, dude. The new Harlequin shit, combined with what Wyatt said, combined with a couple phone calls I had, I'm in it. And I have learned a lot of things have changed since I was last in it. Like since I was last in it, like, you know, obviously that FAQ aside, you know, where they changed like how the second powers interact between these factions, points dropped. We had that whole thing. Remember that whole thing where all of our points dropped? Like things are cheaper. We got fucking do-it-yourself Eldari Craft World fucking rules. Like, I was like, what? So I'm back on the train. I have deep dive even more into Shadow Seer, Troop Master, Solitaire, Death Jester tricks. I'm in love with like Eldari sneaking in with like triple Night Spinner or triple Fire Prism, even with some of these new ignore cover fucking make your own attachment rules. I am never going to leave home without, as my, like, because inspired by Wyatt, my 10 grotesques. So
that's been a thing for so long, right?
Yeah. Well,
it's such a fun army to play.
So fucking fun, you know?
It's so fun.
And I've said, like, I've never made my own. I've never made an Eldar list or a tile list for myself competitively at all in any capacity, even for funsies. So only two that I really haven't fucking done over all these years. And I'm stoked because I'm not only gonna do Eldar, I'm gonna do like all the Eldar, literally Harlequins, Drukhari, and Eldari, all in the same shit. Backbone being like my jet bikes and my grots, you know, obviously, and sneaking in some cool like precision firepower from the Eldar. I'm like, you know what? I have not been this stoked for like 90 fucking days, and I just want to share that with everyone. That is what I did. Now I'm not saying everyone, you know, needs to play Eldar, but like I am now thinking about something I normally don't think about and found my path back to passion and scheming. And that's how I take it.
I had a lot of ideas before the crisis, and now I'm just like, haven't had a free minute. Not even a little bit.
Yeah. It's, you know, I feel you. But you know, you've been taking a step back from the 40K tournament scene for some time now.
I mean, it's just because you don't play competitive on a ITC for points doesn't mean you don't know what the shit does and what's a good build.
It's your job to report on those things. Of course you know that.
Right. So like, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, when you play against people, you just don't want to bring the heat. You might want to bring the simmer instead of bringing it to a boil. You don't have to, just because you have I'd rather have the models and just, you know, play to the opponent than blow somebody off the table.
Yeah, that's always that. Yeah, absolutely. Like everyone defines their enjoyment in this hobby. It's why it makes it so amazing. The one thing we all can't do without though is being, you know, playing this bitch with people. Like, so we do get to actually report on statistics and everything like that. So it has been our theme to do this whole thing and then do the beginning. So I'm assuming you have a tabletop marketplace for us that we can do at the end of the show.
I'll come up with something. It's, you know, there isn't quite as much stuff. There's actually been quite a few Kickstarters and things. It seems like everybody's got a new project going.
Oh yeah. I know one specifically that I'm really excited about that you're also excited about.
What's that?
A new resin. Maybe a monkey resin.
Oh, did you start telling people about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Super stoked.
Yeah.
So definitely get to talk about those things. So let's jump into it, man. There was or unless you have something else you want to hit first. Is that a thing? Is that getting rolled out? Like, do we have specifics? I have a logo, dog. I emailed a logo. I have not authorized I have not told anyone of how anything is happening. Just that monkey resin is coming.
Yeah.
And it's going to be,
well, I think the thing to say is that a lot of Pop Goes the Monkeys, offerings are going to be, you're going to be able to get it in a more reasonable format, pricing, and like composition. Whereas some of the stuff that's just ridiculous to do through Shapeways won't be ridiculous anymore.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, chat. Tell you when Pop Goes the Monkey and resin. There you go. That's how you say.
It's like they figured it out.
Which, as we all know now, is superior for making model stuff. Like, it's going to be the hotness. But let's do it. Let's do the meat and potatoes real quick, and then we'll slice in our thing. So
I'll find some stuff to talk about.
So here we are today, guys, with actual tournament reporting, actual tournament results. And I'm going to turn it over to Wyatt right now, who is going to walk us through maybe like top 3 winners. There's 2 games specifically I want to hear. I want to hear about his 2 losses, spoiler alert, that he suffered and how interesting that was. So Wyatt, what you got?
Yeah, so we had the Alamo GT down in San Antonio last weekend. We started off with, I think, like 32, 33 players. And then as like every tournament ever, like people drop after day 1. Which brought it back down to 28, but still counts as a GT. Lot of really good players there from the Texas circuit. Like probably some of the, like, maybe there's a few people missing, but there's easily some like top 10 talent in that room. So it was kind of a real battle in there, which is really cool. You guys want to guess who won the tournament?
Wasn't it Grey Knights?
It was Grey Knights. It's pretty wild, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super wild. Like, Grey Knights haven't won a tournament like ever.
Well, I mean, they were on the path up when all this shit went down.
But then it was all
that.
Iron Hands and Space Marines. That was it.
It's all that hype, and then they never won a tournament.
Yeah, and then it was all. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's because it was just like there's a difference between being good and just being easy mode good.
That's true.
And that's what Iron Hands were.
That's true. That's
there was literally there was no thinking. It basically played itself.
Yeah. And then when you put it in the hands of somebody who is a high level thinker.
Yeah, they're just going to straight win GTs.
And Wyatt does always describe the Grey Knights as a house of card army.
Yeah.
Where like it does, you're right, it does. So I do agree with you. Like it's not a surprise to me that that they are rising up. And that the access to like those tactics to pilot them correctly is going to become easier and easier to grasp as time goes on. So it's just awesome that like they came out and won this. And I'm sure there was other archetypal themes in this event because it was a lot of gangsters there. So Grey Knights pulled it down, first place.
Yeah, so congrats to Colin McDade. He's one of our really, really good players here in the Texas circuit, if not the best player. I played him a number of times at events here, and he's like top sportsman, very nice, awesome to hang out with at the tournament. So congratulations to him. Second place was Chaos, and it was kind of a mixed bag of Chaos. Really weird detachments and some interesting things going on. Like he had this one detachment that's like, it sounds like it shouldn't work, but it actually is a legal detachment where it's a battalion, Heretic Astartes, Specialist Detachment, Cult of Magic, Legion Alpha Legion, with Ahriman, a Dark Apostle, Chaos Cultists, and Poxwalkers, and a Plague Burst Crawler. So he gives up a ton of special rules to make that detachment, but it is a battalion that is legal because they share Chaos and Heretic Astartes keywords.
Chaos doesn't matter. It's Heretic Astartes is the only thing that matters. You can't lean on Chaos or Imperial. But
yeah, exactly. But they share 2, which keeps it Battleforged. So yeah, he had a really interesting list. He did really well. Got second place. That was Charles Velasquez. And then third place was somebody I think both of us know, Kenny, is Viet Nguyen, who's another prolific painter, Sensei Swag. And he was playing the Triple Thermo Knights. That was his Chaos list.
It's a good list.
And then my friend Sam was playing Dark Angels, and he got top 5, but he put his name in the roster as Girth Brooks.
That's our dick joke.
We had a great laugh about that. He's playing like mono Dark Angels and did really well. So I'm super proud of him because he hasn't been
mono Dark Angels.
Yeah.
Weird new Chaos list, Grey Knights, and an oldie but a goodie, a Thermal Knight list. Like that's pretty cool. Hell yeah. So that's interesting. Not as I thought. Okay, so I'm glad that there is some mix up in there because I would have been really sad if it was just like same business as usual. So I'm super happy to see that there is a mix up. That's pretty fucking cool. And Colin, you played Colin, right? And right?
Yeah, I actually got Colin round 5, and I was a little disappointed because I was like, we're going into round 5, and I was like, man, if I can get like a solid matchup, I can go like 4-1 at this tournament. I'm a hype. And then I was like, oh, I'm playing Colin, and he's playing Great Knights. GG. GG. Fun was fun. Because for those of you who don't know, with the triple Lord of Skulls list, basically everything worth fielding in that army is chaos or demon keyword. So like the Lord of Skulls, my Master of Possession, and the Lord Discordant all have demon keyword. And so getting matched up against Grey Knights was not fun.
It's difficult because
the game was fun. The game was a lot of fun. But as far as like winning is concerned, it was never going to happen.
Yeah, and it was a known factor. You play a list where you've isolated those factors, and you're like, okay, this will be tough. And the reason it's tough is because like the smite, is 4 damage.
Yeah, it goes off on a 5 +1 +2, so it's almost always going to go off.
And screening it, you have to use like your chaff units to stop the smite from going where you want, but like that's once because they have their basic firepower evaporates chaff.
Yeah, so, and like I needed to hold objectives, so
you can't hide
those troops to hold objectives.
Yeah, you can't. It's not like character abuse where you can hide 5 dudes behind a wall and they still can't shoot the character. Smite requires line of sight, so like those guys hidden from the firepower don't protect the thing they're trying to smite. So it's really hard to start protecting your units versus a list like that. And then every time he says that thing, it's dead because it's just 4 damage smites.
Yeah, and I mean, like I knew how it was going to go. I mean, like I was like, well, if I go first, we'll play it out and we'll see what happens. And if you go first, I'll just shake your hand right now because I'm not even going to make you roll all those dice because I know you're going to hit me with like 70 smites turn 1 and all 3 of my Lord of Skulls are going to die.
We've mapped it out. It's like 60 wounds. It's like on average 60 wounds. Like it's just basic math. And then anything you try to screen that with, like cultists and shit, man. Like, like literally they have a ludicrous amount of Stormbolter shots. Like, it's just like, dog, it's one of those matchups, it's just like.
Yeah. I mean, I ended up being able to go first, but the way that the table worked out, he's able to hide a lot of 5-man Grey Knight squads in buildings and stuff where I can't shoot at him. So my shooting phase was like, oh, Scorpius is going to shoot at a target, kill a couple of guys because they're like -1 to hit. From the tide shroud. Yeah. And so it was just like, he iced me out for like 3 turns, very methodically, great play. And then it was sort of a battle for a little bit. I killed 3 or 4 units and then he was able to take out the Lord of Skulls and Lord Discordant. So I was basically just playing for points where I would have to like move over to an objective and then get smited off of it so that I
get
could
a point,
score.
Get a point, die. You're like now, it's and that's a defining trait in a lot of top level play is that like how he ices you out for a couple turns, gives up some primary points, then just completely runs away with the game. Like that's you see that more from like that level of play than like Alpha Strike.
Scenario 5 is also just like hard for my army because it's the one where to get the bonus you have to have like characters on 3 different objectives.
Oh yeah,
and all 3 of my characters are integral to the murder ball of Lord of Skulls. So I'm not like spreading those dudes out, right? Especially against an army that has, shoot through walls psychic power. I'm definitely not putting those guys closer than normal models, right? Because they'll just get sniped out like crazy. So that was just a bad matchup. It happens, but it was a fun game.
I have a weird question. Doesn't ITC normally have like a beta new rules pack come out about this time? I guess that's probably not happening this year.
They already did. The new champs pack already came out.
Did it get approved?
Yeah, it was like back in February.
Yeah,
dude.
we talk. Okay, yeah. When we last,
what am I missing?
What you're missing is there was no fucking tournaments, and it was in a beta in February.
Maybe that's it.
And we were super hype on it because now you go first to second, period. But like,
that's right.
Yeah, you remember
it's all of that.
So it's a game changer.
So
it's so good.
In February, we played the beta test packet at our last monthly RTT before lockdown. And then 2 weeks later, after the play testing during the month of February, they said, this is what we're going to keep. This is what we're going to change. This is the 2020 champs packet.
Yep. And we talked about it at length. And now Rob remembers, like, it's awesome. Like rolling a dice, seeing who goes first, who goes second, and then having some type of advantage for picking the deployment map. And then it's like you always have to set up your army if you go first, and they get the counter deploy. It's like those 2 missions everyone hated, but if you really thought about them, they were the fucking best missions. Like, and now they've just added on top of that. It's such a fucking superior way to play them. How to feel though playing the whole event?
I mean, I've played it a few times, and I like it. There's definitely I think the biggest thing of contention with the new packet is seize the initiative. Some people really like that it's gone, and some people don't like that it's gone. But personally, I like that it's gone. I like being able to have a set game plan based on whether or not I'm going first or going second, and to like play the game based off of that rather than plan one way and then get feel badsies when somebody steals the initiative on you. Because it has this weird thing. Like if you know you're going second, you generally don't care about seize the initiative because it is just like a random chance to have some icing on the cake, right? But you pretty much know you're going to go second. Whereas if you're going first and you plan to go first and somebody seizes on you, it feels really bad because that's like a random thing out of your control that like it makes the game feel really weird, right? So I like that it's gone. I know some people don't, but it's the way it is now. You know, if you're going to play on the pro circuit, you play by whatever rules they hand down. It's just what it is.
It's true. I mean, you're right. It creates a weird feeling, but it's actually a much better like result. Like you just get to plan for the worst now. Like whereas before you planned for the best and then the worst happened. Like it's just better.
Yeah. So John was like, what would be a bad matchup for that Green Knights list? I would say honestly, like if I had my Ultramarines list that I played at LVO or the Ultramarines list that I had been playing for the majority of the 2019 season, I would have felt a lot better about my chances of winning that game because they're not going to get their bonus damage on smites against me. I can also play that same game of like icing him out by having troops in terrain that he can't shoot. So he would have to forego things like Gate of Infinity and smites and things like that to do shoot through walls. I can't remember. I never remember.
Astral Aim.
Astral Aim. So he'd have to use a lot more psychic powers on Astral Aim than being able to move around and like cast smites and things like that. But also like that Ultramarines army just eats Space Marine infantry alive. You know, I have Thunderfire cannons. I have a Whirlwind. You know, I'm getting rerolls and to hit buffs, which Chaos doesn't get. And I'm able to just like walk forward with much beefier units that can mitigate damage. Like I have access to things like Feel No Pains, and I have access to things like Apothecaries and the banners that let me do things after a unit dies. And I have Chapter Tactics. I have rerolls from Gilliman. I have Gilliman, you know, like doing that sort of thing. So it just so happened that like my army, the way it's put together, it's basically only hard counter is Grey Knights because they can very easily get off a ton of smites that do a ton of extra damage because I'm a demon. Mm-hmm. Whereas like maybe a different Chaos list that doesn't have a lot of demon stuff would be stacked a little bit better. Colin actually ended up playing Charles, who got second place, and they had a tie. And he was playing a very horde-oriented Chaos Space Marine list with all that wacky stuff in there. So not a lot of demon stuff for him to key off of.
Yeah, Poxwalkers are an amazing counter to Grey Knight Smites because they're not demons and they do have a Feel of Pain. Mm-hmm. So like that's a good smite screen. So like it makes sense. You also so you lost to Colin. He won the event. badass, one of the best in the region. And you lost there's another counter matchup that exists for you that is obviously not as extreme that you also played.
Oh yeah, triple chaos thermal knights. Who went first?
And that's the counter, right? Like if it goes first and it has the correct demonic pacts, the correct vows set up, it's got to be Iconoclast, and it's ready to fight a list like yours. It's really hard to fight it off of your face if it goes first.
Yeah, that was actually a really great fight. And it wasn't like a raffle stomp or anything, right? Like that was a 1-point game. We played 6 rounds all the way through, and I lost by a single point. And like my opponent did a lot right. He also did a lot wrong. And that kind of helped me stay in the game for a little while. But it is one of those things where one of the strengths of my list is Cursed Earth, because I get to buff the invul save on the Lord of Skulls and the Lord Discordant. And if I go second, there's not a lot of ways for me to mitigate a ton of anti-armor shots that can come out of those thermal knights. And when they're doing a lot of damage every time one of those 5-up invul saves gets failed, which is a lot, it whittles my Lord of Skulls down really, really quickly. But I was able to hang in there. I killed both of his Helldrakes. I killed both of his Lord Discordants. I killed 2 of his Night Titans and heavily wounded a 3rd one. And really all it came down to was, can my Lord Discordant survive a single round of shooting from this last night at -2 to hit? Because one thing he did was smart in placement was he placed him within 12 but outside of 6. So I was keying off the Alpha Legion rule and the Clandestine Warlord trait and his -1 to hit for vehicles within 6. So by placing it inside of 12 inches, he negates my Alpha Legion -1, and outside of 6, he negates the -1 from just being the Lord. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people forget that everyone knows he makes demon engines +1 to hit, but he also makes enemy vehicles -1 to hit within 6 inches.
Yeah.
So,
and really, like, because he was wounded, he didn't have any more CP for rerolls, and missed a lot of shots. And I only had to make 2 saves. I had to roll 2 dice, and both of them needed to be a 5 or a 6, and I failed one of them. And then it came down to, don't roll a 5 or a 6 on the damage dice, which is hard to do because he gets 2 dice, pick the highest. And, he rolls his dice. It was a 3 and a 5. So I was like, well, you got him. And that was pretty much the end of the game.
Yeah, which I love that list because that's a list. I ran that exact list at SoCal Open. Double Drake, double Lord Discordant, triple Thermal Knight. It's a solid fucking list. I did really well at SoCal Open with going 5-1, only losing to Lennon. And I did get to play against 2 people who had not Lord of Skulls. I played against another triple knight list, and I played against a Knight Mortarion list, right? And which are similar threat levels for my cannons, right? Mm-hmm. And so I've learned a lot about the way that list plays. And so I think his first mistake was rushing you down with those Drakes and those Lord Ds. Like he went first, he came in hard and did his damage, made his charges, and then your super axes, which only get more ludicrous as you take damage, probably just made short work of those Drakes and Lord Ds, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I made sure to think about was the Lord of Skulls, they can shoot out of combat. As long as you're not you can't shoot the unit you're locked in with, right? But you can shoot out of it at other targets. So even though you can fall back and shoot with no negatives, I would rather stay in combat, shoot the things that matter, and then smash down the Lord Discordants and the Helldrake. So in turn 2, after he killed one of my Lord of Skulls turn 1, flat out, just killed it. And then charged the second one and barely it hung on to life. It had 5 wounds left. So in my turn, I kill a Knight in shooting, I kill a Helldrake in shooting, and then my other Lord of Skulls charges in there, and my Lord Discordant charges in there. And, I kill Lord Discordant with the Lord of Skulls. He decides not to interrupt. I kill the Helldrake with the other Lord of Skulls, and then my Lord Discordant kills his Lord Discordant. And then like all my stuff is free again, and all he has left is 2 knights and a Helldrake and some dudes in buildings, which I was chipping away at with the Scorpius. And then it was just kind of like we were just trading stuff for the rest of the game until it came down to that one last matchup. Because with the amount of wounds he had left on that night, all I had to do was survive and then make a charge. And I wasn't even going to eat Overwatch because I had cultists in the corner of a building that were going to, no line of sight charge. And it was like a 4-inch charge. And I had CP for a reroll. So I was going to make that charge and deny him Overwatch. Then my Lord Disco was going to go in there and smack down that knight. And all he had left was like 1 unit of cultists on the table. And so after killing that knight, it would have been GG in my favor. But because he died, I wasn't able to get that last point, or I guess technically 2 points, to edge out a victory. So I lost by 1 point.
Tight game, man. That's awesome. Way to come back from a bad matchup and going second.
Yeah, that was a really, really fun game. I got to shout out Wyatt. He's super fun to play. He's a partier. So every time you play him, it's a party.
Sometimes those types of games, the Super Bowl games, so to speak, are always the best, right?
Yeah. Usually the only type of game I ever get upset about is one where I just get like, tabled in 2 turns or something, like sometimes it happens. Most of the time it's a hard fight, and I can't ever get upset if I play a really hard game and it just comes down to a couple of points difference.
That's true, man. Like those both sound like great games because they were awesome. You lost them both, but it seems like they were streamlined. And I think a perfect game of 40K is one in which the only moment in which you feel a little sad is when you lose. But if the whole game throughout was above board and felt great, that's as close to perfect as you can get. And you did it.
It was a really good time.
So that's great news. Congratulations to Colin, pulling it down. Grey Knights for life. Shout out to this mono Dark Angels. That's your boy, right?
Yeah.
Like, fuck yeah, man. Trip, Thermal Knight, Chaos, Knights, still a thing.
There's nothing wrong with playing with just Knights.
Still a fucking thing. I've got them. I was highly tempted to just come back to the scene with my Knights and not have done anything new with my list building.
I think they're better than Loyalists, pound for pound.
I do too. I think that with the triple thermals, what you get is you get one of the most high octane DPS versions of a Knight possible at a steal point cost wise. And combined with, their packs, like when you make them Dread Blades and you have access to like Path of Glory, and there's ways to basically make all 3 of your Thermal Knights have full rerolls in certain matchups. For free, basically, the damage spike is ludicrous. And so like you're doing that at a steal. So like definitely triple. And then you have plenty of room left in your list to put lots of good, useful things. So I agree with you, Rob. I think it is better.
Yeah. And plus, people in chat bring up a good point. Like Engine War is coming, and that will contain rules for Night Titans. So
for both.
Yeah, for both. So there might be some cool stuff coming down the pipe. Make people want to bring it back. Gary Quinn asked about like how the tournament was set up as far as like the regulations are concerned. I mean, it would take a really long time to go through every single little detail, but suffice to say that like every regulation in place was followed to the letter. The way that the tables were laid out and everything followed all social distancing regulations and everything. And it was very like on the up and up. Everybody did an exceptional job doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Yep.
What about the butt stuff?
I mean, only on the weekends though.
Oh, okay.
I mean, as if you're masked, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about.
Just wash your hands. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. No, what blew me away, just the only thing I would say on it is like how you told me how like you move your models, they take a step back, then you take a step back, they move their models. Like Whereas like a normal game of 40K, like we're like hovering over the table together and like interacting. So I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Like I didn't even think of that. Like I was
and I mean, because capacity was lower than normal. I mean, like usually that's about 100-man tournament every year. And there was like 30 of us. So they were able to have the table set up where there was space around the actual game board so that both players, when standing at the edges of the table, were 6 feet apart and the tables were 8 feet apart.
Which is dope. And did someone ask in the chat, and I hope you have it in arm's reach so you can wear it for the.
I think it's in my bag.
God damn it!
I did wear my Chaos Space Marine mask. It was awesome.
Oh my god, so fucking awesome! Like I'm gonna need one of those. For myself, when I come back to the scene, I'm gonna need one.
Yeah, they're super cheap. I think the actual mask itself, the respirator, is called like the Montana mask. You can get them. I mean, I bought it on Etsy for like $5. They're 3D printed. They send you the filter and everything. And then there's a plate on the front that comes off so that you can change the filter out. And people have made a bunch of STLs that replace that little removable plate
grill.
cap thing.
The
grill, like a grill. Yeah. And one of them, I found one that was a Space Marine one. And then I added some little tusks to it to make it chaosified and printed it out, slapped it on there, and then painted the whole mask to look like a Chaos Space Marine, matching the colors of my army. So I was not only safe, but having a good time.
Yeah. Which I fucking love. Oh my God. So that's hype.
Well, maybe there'll be some more tournaments.
I hope so.
Maybe in June.
I believe it's coming.
Maybe.
I
think they just opened North Carolina, like phase 2 of reopening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's exciting. People seem to be responsible, like based on what Wyatt said, people seem to be responsible and safe. And I can't.
Well, at least there. Yeah. Don't go to Lowe's though. They are not responsible or safe.
Well, that's not some cool
like
guys.
A lot of people want to see it. Do you guys want to like pause for like a minute? I'll go grab it out of my bag.
Oh yes, please.
It's like right in the other room.
Okay, the chat is calling for this mask. Let's get this fucking mask.
They want to see it.
If you're listening to this podcast, I'm not cutting any of this out. This is how we do it live. You better sometimes jump over to see it live.
The live version has more butt stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And after we see this mask, we'll go back to the beginning of the show and do our news.
Hey, that's my part. Oh, sounds good. Did you see my video on this Space Marine Bandai man duders?
I did not.
You should check it out. I compared it to all the great classic action figures.
Oh, the ones that you own?
Yes.
Did you play with your toys on camera?
Yes.
Okay, I will watch this video. It
was pretty fun. I was a little disappointed in my Spawn action figure. The first dope Spawn they did in like 2000. Because remember the first one was like kind of wow.
This is what I ordered, right? This is the Montana mask, and here's the filter.
It's just a normal.
Then this area here is you can create these grills, and so this is the grill that I printed out. You can see it looks like a Space Marine with the Chaos tusks, and it just clips right onto there. So then you have like a Space Marine mask. And one of the things I was doing is
look at this. My man.
Just, pretending to be a plague marine while avoiding the plague.
That makes me so happy.
It's a twofer.
So much hype. And we have to check out Rob's video too, where he plays with toys on camera. Comparing the Bandai Marine to, I'm gonna assume, Transformers.
Everything. I actually didn't do any Transformers
because they're all new in box, and you're.
No, I mean I opened them all.
I mean, from pictures, it seems like it's a nice little toy. I mean,
it is a nice little toy.
Cool. Well, then let's do the news and let's talk about how nice of a toy it is.
So, well, I mean,
We'll do our 20.
I'll talk about it, but I'm not going to really do the review and stuff.
Okay.
On the news. All right, hold on. Let me.
And then I also got another 3D printed mask for even more fun. But I gotta.
Is that Emotin Joe? What is?
It's just raw, so I'd have to make like a little hole to go around, and then drill some holes and put a filter in it. But a cool mask like that.
Oh my god!
This was only like $10 on Etsy.
I was gonna say, how did you print that?
It's FDM, but like FDM works really good for big stuff. I mean, most of this mask is FDM. Just the grill is resin. But it's just when you get into miniatures that FDM kind of sucks because it was never engineered to be able to do tiny little details. But if you're doing like prop stuff like this, it looks great.
Hell yeah.
So that's it for this one. Head on over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.